I am glad that I have chosen to not be Christian because I would neither want heaven nor hell. I would rather choose annihilation over either one of those, although I do not accept annihilation, but I will explain it to you in just a moment. You see, this Christian said that there is no fiery torment that lasts forever. And I referred him to Revelations 20 in his own book to show that the Christian teachings does teach that there is a fiery annihilation. So when you look at Revelations and you start at verse 10, or you can start at verse 9, where it talks about how the old serpent, the devil Satan, and his preacher, his apostle is going to be thrown into this lake of fire burning, and they will be, as it says right up in here, that they will be tormented day and night for eternity. And they're going to be thrown into this lake of fire and burning sulfur. When you read further down, it gets into those who were left out of the book of life, who at the end of judgment time will be looked upon based on their deeds and their belief. They also will be thrown into this same lake of fire, to which this person obviously goes into John 5:28 and try to say that, well, John 5:28, Jesus was in the grave for 3 days and ministered to the dead, which ministering to the dead is a doctrine, not a realistic reality thing. But even if you took that, you cannot make John 28 supersede what Revelation says, because Revelation is talking about what's supposed to happen at the end time. This is one of the problems I have with all religions. If a verse cannot stand upon its own and then have synchronicity with the rest of the book and the rest of the thought process of what's supposed to happen, then therein lies the contradiction. And that would be a contradiction, sir. If you're saying John 5:28 is suggesting that people don't suffer and are tormented eternally, but then Revelations 20 says that they're thrown into the same lake of fire as the devil, and that they're going to be tormented day and night for eternity. Do you see the contradiction? Now, this brings me to my primary statement. I am glad to neither be Christian, nor Muslim, or any other religion that perpetuates an eternal hell, nor an eternal heaven. Bishop Irenaeus wrote that one of the greatest things about being in heaven is the fact that you will be able to look over the edge of heaven and see those who are being tormented in hell for not believing in this God, this deity. We're talking about a deity who only made himself known to a small group of people, and then for thousands of years spread in the most insignificant way, and then spread in the most violent way. But when I look at the concepts of heaven and hell, how can a person believe that their God is good if their God has an eternal damnation for any of its conscious, sentient creations? That would not be the hallmark of a good God. And then at the same time, how can a good God create a place where you are worshiping him constantly, dwelling in this so-called heaven, but you have knowledge, you have a knowingness that those that you've loved, those that are other beings of consciousness, are constantly suffering? A truer heaven would be annihilation, because in annihilation, you cease to know anything. You don't know that people are suffering. You don't know that people are watching people suffering. Because how can I sit there and be in heaven and feel good about watching people suffer for all eternity? That would cause a disruption in this so-called heaven, because I would be like that little child to the parent saying, why? This does not make sense. You are not a good God. Why? And there is absolutely nothing that this guy could ever say that would ever make me agree with them that this is a good thing. If anything, I accept the fact that we create our own afterlife, that we manifest whatever it is our deepest beliefs are, our deepest thoughts are, our deepest knowings are, and that those things will manifest at the end of your existence in this matter form of reality. That when you depart from this body, you manifest mentally whatever it is that you truly believe. Whatever you fear the most is what you're going to manifest. Whatever you love the most is what you're going to manifest. You will simply manifest another life that has both good, both evil, that just exists. Maybe it exists communally like we do here now, because one could make the point that we are all existing in our own mental universe right now, and that our whole existence is based on what we see, what we do, what we think, our perception of self, that this is all that there is in the universe is what we perceive. And who's to say that any other level of consciousness is the same, is different from that? It would be the same, whether here on this earth or in a future earth or on some other planet or some other dimension. And if I come in contact with another person's consciousness who has manifested in that same place, then we share a shared existence in the same way we share a shared existence right now, right here. This is what most likely happens in whatever you call an afterlife. The only other option is a version of annihilation that doesn't end in nothingness. It is, if you've ever seen the movie Powder, at the end of Powder's existence in the matter form, he became pure energy and he became part of everything. His consciousness was not cohesive to where he had knowledge of self or perception of self. But just as the Kabbalion states the all is, and the divine paradox, the all is in all, but all are not the all. Powder was in all, but all were not powder. Powder didn't have a consciousness of self, but became part of everyone and everything else. And if anything, beyond a cohesive consciousness, that is a true reality. That would be annihilation, but not annihilation into nothingness, but annihilation into everything. So those are the two choices. This heaven, this hell that was created in these Bibles and other books are man's thoughts of how man perceived nature and the universe at that time. The true reality of energy and consciousness is that if our consciousness remain cohesive, we will manifest our own individual universe and maybe join with others in a shared universe. Or we all just become part of the all, but not the all. So y'all have a great day. And remember always, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.